guys, welcome back to Seduce Me. So we left off with Damien, and I'm assuming it's gonna get really depressing really fast. So I guess let's move on. Damien?
You've already done so much for me and my brothers, sheltering us, letting us continue to live here.
Let me fix this. Alright. Oops. Damien frowned, though, gently caressing my cheek with his hand.
I don't want you to get hurt because of us.
Damien lowered his head in shame. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at his sight. He truly cared. Damien let out a small sigh before looking to me with a new smile. He hid his sadness fall, but I could tell he was still upset about the whole ordeal.
All right. You should sleep.
But Damien! I still have so many questions! Damien gently pressed me back into the bed, resolved in what had happened. Yeah, I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Damien down to me, lifted my head, and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Damien stared in a deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of my lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let out a satisfied sigh before nuzzling my forehead.
Go to sleep.
As with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress.
How pathetically sweet.
Go away, Diana! I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. She was here. I quickly looked around the room, sitting up straight, before seeing Diana leaning against the window with a smirk towards me. What do you want?
Oh, I just wanted to see how close Damien was to you. Obviously, he's very close.
I stood from the bed, glaring daggers at Diana. And what's it to you? He doesn't want to leave with you, so leave him alone.
Oh, I will. I don't care enough for the bastard son to try and take him away. I just want you to know exactly what you have.
And that would be? What are you talking about? Diana chuckled, which made me slightly sick to my stomach for some reason. She knew something.
Did Damien tell you about what he lived through?
He showed me what... When he left, he met with...
No, not that. Before that. Did he show you anything before that?
Does this have to do with the blood? Well, he was scorned by the demon.
He didn't show you everything, did he?
Why would he need to? He showed me what he needed to.
I don't need to show her anything else.
He was there the whole time. And he sounds like he's getting mad. I turned to see Damien, glaring at Diana with a scary glare. I felt dark shivers run down my spine as I stared at him.
Ah, Damien. Right on cue. I was just about to show her why you hate your life and why you have a human fetish.
Oh?
You will not show her anything.
Yeah, respect his privacy.
Oh, I won't. Funny, I don't believe you get to tell me what to do, bastard son.
Before Damien or I could leap at her throat, Diana snapped her fingers, suddenly making the room spin. I quickly grabbed onto Damien, who held me close as the room slowly began to change from my room to the demon castle. I looked around, feeling unable to move from Damien's embrace out of the dizziness. I looked to Diana, who was leaning on a pillar on the far side of the room, with a smirk. However, my focus gathered on a pair of demons, one of them being the demon servant that was with the demon lord, carrying sheets and books across the room.
Damn that woman, ordering us around! I bet she thinks she's all high and mighty just because she bore that bastard son. Well, she's no queen. She's a simple harem girl. She'll never be queen. The Demon Lord reminds her that every bloody night. You'd think she'd let it sink in.
Wow. Okay. The snort that erupted from the servant's nose disgusted me to no end. How vile was this creature? Who was he talking about?
And about that boy, what do the other noble sons think about him? They treat him like an equal. He's no noble son, and he will never be. He's a bastard child that doesn't know his place, just like his bitch mother.
Shh, you know he could read minds from a mile away.
Then let him read mine. I don't care. That boy is a monstrosity never meant to be born.
I got an awful pit in my stomach right now. The servant cleared his throat, however, at the sight of Damien, who was standing nearby with an almost cold, dead look on his face.
Ah, you.
Yes, me. I don't need to be a mile away to hear your thoughts.
Boy, what?
What I'm doing out of my room is no longer your concern. I may be a bastard, but I'm the Demon Lord's son regardless. I won't take insults from you anymore.
Then what are you going to do, bastard son?
Damien started to step forward. I don't know why, but the room suddenly felt cold and dark as Damien started to approach the servant.
I'm finally gonna shut you up.
Oh.
If you threaten me, you'll threaten him.
Damien's glare could practically kill. I was afraid to even watch, but I continued, hoping to not see blood spill from the sight. Damien continued to walk forward towards the servant, towering over him like a shadow.
I've taken your insults for long enough. Now, I get peace.
Stay away!
I've had enough of you.
Damien stopped, turning his head to look up at the archway in surprise.
Mother?
The demon servant slowly turned, also matching Damien's surprise as he looked to the archway. A figure completely covered in red sheet stepped out in the hall, slowly walking to Damien. The thick sound of chains echoed in the room, dragging across the stone floor. I felt something in my gut tighten, unsure of what was going on, but positive something wasn't right about it. However, the familiar smell of blood entered my nose. Only it was fresher and much more potent. My gaze slowly trailed down to the stone floor, only for me to go wide-eyed at the sight. Blood brushed over the sheet as the woman walked, painted the stone a dark red, almost black color in the woman's wake. I looked back to the mother, now worried that she was bleeding underneath the sheet.
Leave us.
The mother sounded almost enchanting, despite only saying 2 words in her arrival. I almost let it slip from my mind that it was merely a vision. The servant glared before walking off, mumbling incoherently under his breath. The other demon with him giggled at the servant's futility to fight back. I guess Damien's mother was powerful enough to silence anyone. However, one fact stuck out for me. His mother was a harem girl? I imagined chains to her feet, making me frown. It was terrible to imagine.
What are you doing out? He'll hurt you if you aren't...
Shh.
Damien stopped talking, staring at the woman walking towards him in a sudden calm demeanor. A hand slipped out from the curtain and gently caressed Damien's cheek, making him almost melt into the hand. Damien looked to his mother, a look of hopelessness on his face.
Why do you want me to turn around?
Just listen to my thoughts, like you always do.
I watched as Damien slowly nodded and turned around.
As you wish.
focus on my thoughts.
I couldn't tell that Damien was holding his breath. He must have cared very deeply for his mother. It was incredibly sweet. Silence lingered in the room, obviously of Damien listening to his mother's thoughts. It was almost awkward to watch. The hand that held Damien's gently petted over his hair. The breath that Damien was holding slowly was let loose, letting Damien relax. Maybe she was calming him down. He was pretty angry, but why make him turn around? All she was doing was petting his head and talking to him in her mind. It seemed surreal. Something was wrong. I looked around the room, trying to see what was going on behind the scene. Was someone going to stop them? Was someone going to interrupt? My eyes landed on a dark shadow of a woman walking towards the couple, with a knife in her hand. She had shackles with chains on her neck, hands, and feet, but they remained silent as the woman neared the couple.
I'm sorry.
All of a sudden, the mother brought out her other hand and took hold of Damien's horns, pushing him to his knees. What? Damien, no! The shadow quickly started to run to the couple, raising the knife higher above her head. I instantly wanted to move, to run and protect Damien. I remained still, watching the scene unfurl before me.
No!
Damien kicked back, causing the mother to buckle and fall back and release his horns. Damien quickly turned and grabbed hold of the shadow's arms, tightening his grip on them. The shadow started to scream and bite at Damien desperately. I wonder what this shadow is. Damien glared and threw the shadow at the nearby pillar, making it disappear, and dropped the knife it was holding. I looked to the mother and regretted looking. The sheet that was wrapped around her wasn't long enough to cover as she fell, the sheet that was wrapped around her wasn't long enough to cover as she fell, the edge landing on over her stomach. The lower half of her body, though, was covered with multiple different scars and blood. Her ankles were both shackled to different lines of broken-off chains. Her legs were together, but I could tell the number of scars and the amount of blood only grew further up her legs he went. The poor woman. I stared at the demon Damien, looked to his mother in shock and heartbreak. The real Damien around me gripped me tighter.
Why?
Oh, Damien. In an instant, the woman raised her hand to the fallen knife, tensing her hand and fingers to bare her nails. The knife flew off the ground and into the woman's hand, making her grip over the handle tightly.
Enough. I can't. I don't want to live like this anymore. I won't let him have me again. I won't let you invade my mind again.
The woman quickly got up onto her knees and raised the knife over her head. I felt my mind screaming as I gasped.
I can't take it anymore! I can't!
No! Stop!
Enough!
What? I felt my voice vanish as I watched this woman, Damien's mother, slam the knife into her own body, curling herself at the stab. After a choked sob and breath, the woman fell to the ground, curled into a ball as blood pooled from under her and the already blood-red sheet.
No!
The world around me shattered at his voice, stabbing through my heart and my stomach. Like glass, the world fell apart, and I was left in darkness. The real Damien gripped onto me, burying his face into my shoulder as I gripped to his arms. Did that really happen? What did I witness? Why would Diana reopen this kind of wound for Damien? Finally, the world reformed back to my own room, with Diana back by the window.
The Demon Lord, despite his sadistic pleasures, loved Damien's mother beyond anything else, even his own wives. When she killed herself, the Demon Lord blamed Damien and his ability to read minds. The only ones who convinced him not to kill Damien were his brothers, so the Demon Lord granted Damien his life. but he would be doomed to become a lowly slave as soon as the eldest became lord.
I looked to Damien, who had a face of murderous hatred and pure sadness as he glared at Diana. The woman he glared at, however, simply chuckled. You are such a jerk.
So, one day, he was visited by an angel who told him about humans and painted him a pretty picture about them. Now, he's obsessed with it.
Why are you telling me this? Why are you doing all of this?
To butter you both up, of course. I'm about to give him the chance to have his wish granted.
Damien and I stared in pure disbelief. Was Diana serious? She was a nut job. Diana laughed, seeing both of our faces.
I needed to see how well you could handle his past. You can't have true love without seeing all sides of your love, now can you?
Diana then looked fully to Damien, crossing her arms. Something about this struck a fear chord with me, but I watched in silence.
I offer you this, bastard son. I have the ability to turn you completely human. No magic, no mind reading.
You're lying.
Am I? Read my mind. See for yourself.
Damien stared at Diana, only to go wide-eyed at her.
You're not. But...
That's right. Your humanity for your brothers.
I looked to Diana in surprise. What? She wanted him to hand his brothers over to her? That was underhanded and cruel.
Think about it, Damien. You can finally be human. You won't hurt anyone anymore. You won't put her in danger.
I could see Damien look at me, instinctively making me look back at him. He had a look of fear, which scared me. Was he going to say yes? Was he going to say no? I wouldn't know what to do in this situation.
All I ask is that you completely willingly let me take your brothers back home. No big deal if that means you get to be a human with the girl of your dreams, right?
No.
Excuse me?
I said no. I will not give my brothers over to you.
I could see Diana's anger flare up like a snake ready to strike.
You do realize what you're denying yourself, right? You're giving up your one chance to become human.
I'd rather remain a demon than let my brothers be your slaves. Now leave.
Diana gripped her hands into fists by her sides, glared daggers at Damien. However, she didn't move to strike. She raised one of her hands and rubbed her temple in pure anger.
This was a waste of my time.
A purple pentagram slowly appeared beneath Diana's feet, letting her slowly sink into it.
Well, lovebirds, you've proven useless to me. I hope to never see either of you again.
Likewise. And with that, Diana left us alone in my room. I finally let out an air I was unconsciously holding in my chest, relaxing from the ordeal. Damien stepped to me and held me gently, surprisingly.
Are you all right?
I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. Damien let out a sigh, relaxing into the embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear Damien's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words. Are you okay?
Yeah, I am.
I looked up to Damien, happy that he was okay. Damien blushed, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me. However, he suddenly pulled away, looking down at his feet.
I should go. You still need rest.
What? Before I could speak, Damien turned his heel and rushed out of the room. I stood there, staring at the door in a daze. Did that really just happen? There was no way I was letting him get away from me after all of this. I quickly followed him out of the room, spotting him turn the corner to go downstairs into the lobby. I followed him quietly, unsure of where he was going going, but determined to follow him to his destination. To my surprise, he turned a corner and pushed open a wall, sliding into it and closing it behind him. I followed and repeated the action, earning entry. And that's where I'm going to stop for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!